Hi everyone, my name is Roussel, also known as Deja, and today I am going to be doing another recent reads. I feel like the latter half of this year has definitely been picking up in terms of finding books that I enjoy. The first half, I feel like it was just kind of meh for a long time, and now I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm finding books that I just enjoy reading. And so I'm excited to talk about the books that I have read in the last, I don't know, few months or so. I don't know. My reading has slowed down, but I think it's starting to pick up a little bit too. And so today I have 7 books to talk about, and without further ado, I will jump right into it. The first one that I read is Iyanu, and the one that I read is actually the sequel. And this is a graphic novel that is a African-based one. I want to say Nigerian, but I could be completely wrong about that. It's kind of like a fantasy, and it reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but not really, because it's not really like the elements and stuff that is like the magic. It's just focusing on this child that has these powers, and she's kind of like the chosen one, but then there's all of this like politics and stuff going on. I wouldn't say that this is my favorite out of the ones that I've read so far, and since this is the second one, I'm pretty sure that there aren't any more in this series actually. So this might actually be the last one that they've published so far. I don't know if there's anything else out there, but I feel like this one is just really a continuation of the first one, and I just really wish that I could get like a complete story out of these, and I don't think that this one was really a complete story. So I feel like that's why I'm going to give it 3 stars, because I'm not really sure that I was brought in a lot to really get invested into it. And the way it leaves off, like, you know, there's going to be more to the story because nothing is really resolved. I feel like that's why I struggle a little bit with comics or graphic novels, or I guess really comics, because the comics will become a graphic novel, I think. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. But the thing with comics is that I think that they don't come together as like a full story, which is why I struggle with them. I really want to read the full story and see how it's going to like happen and how everything is going to connect, because right now it's just bits and pieces here and there, and I'm not really that invested in it. There was a really interesting part in it where like one of the adults in the story, like they are just being like enticed by this like mysterious thing that I'm not sure what it is. And so that was like a really intriguing part for me, but there's really just nothing else in this one that really like enticed me and really made me enjoy it. And so I hope the next one comes out soon. I'm hoping that they conclude the series in a while, because I feel like it could be really good, but yeah, I think I just need more from it. And so I'm going to give this one 3 stars. The next one I listened to on audiobook, and that is Chlorine Sky. And I picked this one up because I was just kind of in the mood for something like short and something just quick to listen to while I was cooking. And this one is about a friendship, and wow, like when I say that this one was actually pretty good, like I was kind of like blown away by like how much I actually enjoyed it. This one gives me the vibes of The Poet X, but it really deals with a Black girl friendship and just like a friendship breakup basically. And I just really enjoyed like the topics that were kind of explored in this one, especially when it came to like the friendships. And it really brought me back to just like my own like high school friendships. Basically, you have this like tomboy character. She's writing like poetry, just basically dealing with all the things that was happening with her and her ex-friend something, and they basically have a falling out because like the main character is just feeling very disrespected and just not like the girl actually is her friend, and it's her dealing with that emotional aftermath of that, but then also just the back and forth and like how people would feel after the breakup, because it is very painful to deal with like a friendship breakup, especially if it was somebody that you really cared about. And it seemed like this character really did care about her. And so I really do think that if you enjoyed The Poet X, like you would really enjoy this one. It's written in like a similar style in terms of like the poetry, but it all kind of meshes together to like tell like one fluid story, and I thought the author did it really well, and so I would give this one 4 stars. And then the next one that I read is actually one that is by an author that I enjoyed earlier this year, and that is Love in One Night by Dandridge and Monroe. And this is a love story, maybe a romance. No, I feel like it would be more of a love story, but I'll get more into that later, because this one follows a girl who's being like set up as this like high-end escort, but she's not really like an escort. I don't know, you have to meet like a certain minimum level of like finances and like prestige, I guess, to even be entertained to be into this like little clique thing. But basically both of these characters are put together by her friend and then I think like his friend, security person, and so they meet in this little like hotel thing, and they're only supposed to be together for one night, and it becomes a little bit more than that, as you can probably like guess by this trope. But the thing with this one is that it's not like a one night stand type of trope where like you see them like get back together after the one night. Like this story literally takes place in one night, and you see them like having their emotional connection together, and I really like that about this author and how like she does try to get like the characters to really fit together. And the thing that really kind of not irks me about it, but like it just really reminded me of the other couple in Red Roses and Regrets. While they're different people, I feel like their dynamic was very much the same. Not in terms of like the setup, but I think that the way that they connected really felt very similar. And I would also say another criticism of this is that it's not actually a romance, it's actually more of a love story, and it seems like it's going to be setting up for another book in the series, and I don't see anything about that because they don't actually end up together by the end of this. Like it's just really left up in the air on like what's going to happen, and I don't know, I kind of like that ambiguous ending, but I know that they're probably going to get together towards the end. But yeah, I feel like the steamy scenes were great, like her last ones in Red Roses and Regrets, but this just didn't have the little, I don't know, like it just didn't have that extra thing to it that I really enjoyed. And I think because I did read Red Roses and Regrets first, that's probably why I like that couple a little bit more. And then this one just seems more like a copycat a little bit. Plus, I feel like there was a little bit more like darker street elements to Red Roses and Regrets, which was really interesting to me. And this one, like they're just very like wealthy Black people and just enjoying each other's company and kind of getting like more intimate in terms of like their feelings and stuff. But again, this all happens in one night, and so yeah, I feel like I would rate this one 3.5, 4 stars, but I don't know, because I kind of wanted more from it, and I wish that it could have been like a full length novel instead of just leaving off the way that it did. But I don't know if I would actually read the second part of this series because yeah, like I don't know, like I liked the buildup of the one night thing, and I wish that they could have just came together at the end, but you know, I don't know. Hey guys, I did want to come on here and just update you because I did find out that there actually is a series to this. It is a trilogy, and the second and third book are already out, but they follow different couples, so I don't think that there's actually going to be a sequel following these people. So I guess we're not going to get that happily ever after. I don't know. But yeah, I think I would still rate this like 4 stars. The next one that I read is actually a sequel, and that is Truth Lies in Mr. Grey, which is the sequel to The Three Mrs. Greys. And this one, I have to say that I liked a little bit less than the first one, because I just feel like it was just more of like the same thing, which I kind of expected, but I think I still just wanted a little bit more plot, which is what I said about like the first one. But yeah, it really was just like a lot of mess, but even then I feel like the mess was just not as interesting. You get more of Mr. Grey's perspective, which towards the end of the first book you do get that, but in the second one, you do get a little bit more, and he's just as conniving as he is in the first one, and just like his audacity just really, really just like got to me, because I'm just like, how do you just go through life living like this? Like, he's like a true narcissist, and it's crazy to me. But you're also introduced to a lot more things. I don't want to go into spoilers, but it basically just extends like where you pretty much left off with all of the characters in the first one, and then it just continues on down that path. And the way that this book leaves off, like, you would think that there might be a third one just because of just one situation that happened, that I'm just like, there might be a third one, but I don't see anything about it. So I'm feeling like this is going to be the last one, and I don't think that I'm actually satisfied with how this one left off. And I think because it is really just following all of the characters and just like their drama and like all of their lives and how it like relates, and there wasn't really like a main plot like in this one, and so I feel like that's why I wasn't really satisfied, because it literally just could have kept going, and like it would have still been like entertaining mess to like read. And so yeah, like I don't know, I feel like I want to give this one like 3.5 stars just because of all the reasons that I said, but I still did find myself having a really good time being entertained. And so maybe it's a 4-star, maybe it will be a 3.5 star, just because yeah, like it could have did a little bit more to like wrap up like itself. But if you want crazy characters, like, just keep reading this series, and I swear like you are going to get it, because these people are crazy. So on a completely different note, I think I started to actually get into my fantasy like mood, because I picked up the 5th season, and this would be the 3rd time that I've reread it, and I will say I enjoyed it less rereading it than I'd have like the first 2 times. And I think part of the reason was because when I first picked it up, I really was not in a fantasy mood, but I was really trying to get into one, because fantasy has really been calling to me. So I think in the later half of the year, you're probably going to see me reading more fantasy books, and so I'm really excited about that. But going back to the 5th season, I took like 2 to 3 months actually reading this, because like I just really was not in the mood to read it. But I think once I started to actually get into it, like I was getting more into the story. It is very slow paced. It is like very, I don't want to say literary, but like I don't know how else to really describe it except to say that it really does focus on like the characters and just like the world building. And so I'm very interested still in like the second book, because the ending still blows my mind, and just like the little like plot twist things, like I still just really appreciate that. But I think my journey during this one just wasn't as good as it was the first 2 times, and I do want to blame that on the fact that I really wasn't in a fantasy mood. And so I feel like I'm still going to give this like 4.5 stars, but not quite the 5 stars that I had the first 2 times. But you never know, the 4th reread, when I'm actually in a fantasy mood, like I could probably push that back up to a 5-star. But this one, definitely very interesting. If you haven't already picked it up, I don't know if I would recommend it to everyone, because it is very, I'm not going to say dense, but it's a very slow, and I don't know if the payoff will be worth it to a lot of people. But if you want to like try it, I definitely recommend doing that, because yeah, I think that it was definitely worth like winning all of those awards. So yeah, I'm excited to actually jump into the second one and see where the story goes from here. And the second to last one that I picked up is And Now She's Gone. And this is my first book by Rachel Howzell Hall, who is a very known like Black like thriller mystery author. And so this is my first one that I picked up from her, and I have to say I have mixed feelings about this one, and I'm pretty sure this isn't her strongest one, so I know I'm going to pick up more by this author. But this book was definitely something. I don't know how to really like start with my review of it. I guess I will say that this story actually follows like 2 different stories. So you're following like the character who is like the main character, Gray. You're following her as she's trying to basically find this other woman who is missing, or like her boyfriend reports her missing, and basically there's like that mystery, and like she's trying to do that. But then there's also another storyline following another character who is in a relationship with somebody who's not very nice. Like, it's a domestic violence situation, and so you're following those two like timelines. And at first I don't really know like how I was feeling about the two different timelines. I feel like the second timeline with like the domestic violence situation, it was just so random to me, and I really could not really care. Like, I mean, I'm still conflicted on like why it was there, even with like the reveal on why it was probably included. But like, I don't like how it was executed, really, like in terms of like putting those together to make like the full story. Like, I don't really like how that was done. And I will also say that it just felt like it was just a lot of details for no reason. Like, I just really did not enjoy that part, because I really don't think that it added pretty much anything to the story that couldn't have been said in like a paragraph or something. And then when you actually get to like the mystery and the PI stuff, like, she was actually not that good at her job. And I just don't think that, I don't know, she just had a lot going on in her life that I'm just like, why are you trying to find somebody else in their life? And so I really think that this one just suffered from a kind of like structure issue and just maybe like a character issue. Like, on one hand, I like that she was like a really flawed character, but on another hand, I'm also like, I wish it really would have focused more on the mystery and like been more intriguing that way. But yeah, I don't think that it really succeeded in that. And so I think I'm going to give this one 3 stars. I was listening to it while I was cooking, and while I'm cooking, like, I can usually just listen to whatever. But after I get done cooking, if I don't want to pick this book back up, then I don't know. I mean, I think that this means that I don't really enjoy it. And so yeah, I'm going to give this one 3 stars, maybe 3.25, but around that kind of rating. And then the last one that I read for this recent reads is Honey and Spice by Bolu Babulola. And this one I actually started during the Naked Readathon, which happened in August. And this one I really found myself enjoying. Now, I have a few critiques because, of course I do. The first one is that I really did not like when, like, it just kind of went into the campus culture in general. Like, I just really did not care about any of that. I didn't really care about, like, her podcast and going into whatever kind of program she was trying to go into. I really did not care about the campus politics that was happening, because all of that was really trying to pull into the like, Dear White People audience, which is how this book is pitched. Like, it was pitched as like a Dear White People romance type of thing. And while I really enjoyed that show, I did not like that in this book format. I didn't really like any of that in like my romance, but I also just really did not like the last 90% of this book. It had the third act breakup at the 90% mark, and I was just so freaking like pissed like that it happened. Like, I literally stopped listening to the book because I was just like, why are you breaking up? Especially because listening to the audiobook and you're hearing the character say, I don't know why I'm doing this, like all of this other stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know why you're doing this either. Like, you have like a lot of stuff like going on, yeah, but like, why are you taking it out on this person? And you're saying you don't know why you're doing that. That is like one of my biggest pet peeves, is when like it happens and they don't know why it's happening. I swear I was so annoyed by that. Like, I usually don't care that much about third act breakups unless like I really cannot see why they are breaking up. And I really cannot see why they were breaking up at this point. And then, of course, like in the last 10%, like they were just, I don't know, they just have like a big argument that isn't really like a big argument, and then they come back together and it's just like, I mean, I guess. But those criticisms aside, I actually really did enjoy Malachi and Kikiola. those two are like the perfect people together. Like they are so cute together. Like literally, I don't know, I just really enjoyed them. Like I just feel like they were like the perfect people. And I think that Bolu Babulola is like super good at just creating characters that just really go together. Like she wrote like a short story collection, Love and Color, and I feel like almost all those couples, from what I'm remembering, like they just really fit together. And she just really did it really well in this one as well. You have two British Nigerians who are going to this college and they just meet and they have like their banter, and their banter is just so cute. They like the same things, they have like their own like dreams and goals, and I was like, these steamy scenes were great. But this book isn't that steamy. Just for those steamy readers, I would say like there's like one or two scenes, but yeah, I feel like there's like one or two scenes, but I just really feel like their chemistry together was just amazing. Every time that this couple was together, I just found myself smiling and blushing, and I was just like, oh, I just really love them together. Like they just balance each other so well, and they just, yeah, I just really love them. And if it was not for that last 90% and the fact that they were trying to bring in like the campus politics, I'm pretty sure this would have been like a 5-star read. Like I just really, really loved it. But I'm gonna have to give it 4.5 stars because oh my gosh, I just really love them. Like, and I can imagine myself re-listening to this all the time. I'm gonna buy the book because man, I love this. And side note, there was like this one part in it where like Kikiola is like obsessed with like this book series that's like Nigerian goddess and gods and stuff that like it's like a romance between them or something. But I was like, I need Bolu Babulola to write that story because I was super intrigued in actually getting that story. And I don't know, in a Nigerian Orisha romance, Bolu Babulola, where is that story? Because I want that. But yeah, I will end it on that note. And I'm glad to end it on such a high note because that is really like one of my best books that I've read this year, besides those little caveats. But that will wrap up all of the books that I've read in the last, few months or so. What are some books that you've recently read that just really put a smile on your face? Please let me know in the comments. And if you don't have anything else to say, let's just do like like a smiling blushing emoji, whatever that is. Like I use that emoji way too much, but anyway, you can use one of those emojis, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!